control. I got Satan on my trail, but I'm singing
This well.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, everybody. Look, that's going to have to be rebranded too as well. But welcome, welcome, welcome today. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. I pray that everybody is actually having a great day today on Monday. So, welcome back, Warriors, to another powerful episode of what used to be called Sisters in Battle, but it's also now called Kingdom Warfare with Lucretia podcast. Listen, I pray that everybody is having a good day today. And we got a returning guest. We have a returning guest on today. And this is where we don't flinch from the front lines, okay? We fight from them. I'm your host, Lucretia, and today's guest, she's no stranger to the trenches. She's a woman of deep faith, fierce compassion, and relentless purpose. Her name is Juanita Knox. She is the founder and CEO of TBOC. That means Taking Back Our Children. She's a licensed insurance agent, a devoted healthcare provider, a commissioned notary public, and she has a powerful voice in both ministry and the marketplace. Not only that, y'all, look, she's the author of Removing the Clutter. And she just had her new release, Detoxing Your Thoughts. Break free from mental clutter and reclaim inner peace is already shaking strongholds and transforming lives. So today we're going to do a recap because we're digging into how spiritual warfare shows up in our minds, in our homes, and our purpose, and how Juanita fights back with faith, clarity, and unshakable resilience. So listen, y'all get ready to be challenged, get ready to be inspired, get ready to be equipped for your next level of warfare and breakthrough. Let's go. So we're gonna talk about Juanita. First of all, thank you so much for being back on tonight. How you doing today? I ain't even asked you how you was doing.
Well, I'm doing beautiful. I'm doing beautiful, beautiful. I'm doing well. What about yourself? How are you?
I'm well. Listen, I won't complain. I won't complain.
That's
I
right.
won't.
Ain't no need to complain. Complain.
Yes.
Get your know.
Yes, ma'am. So just based on what I shared, do you want to let the audience know what you're doing, like who you really are before we really dive into this segment?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I'm Juanita Knox. I'm a native of Uniontown, Alabama. Actually, I've been in Selma for 20 years. I am a mother of three wonderful young men. They they grown, but they still my babies. I would not trade them for nothing in the world. And I'm also a grandmother of three kids. And I recently had a birthday, 51. Thank you. I'm proud.
Baby, you don't
But
look 51. They say black don't crack.
right. And I've been in healthcare field for over 20 years. I also been in the insurance company for over 6 years, and well, just about six or either over. And thank God for removing some things out of me for me to get to where I'm at today. I
Yes,
thank
he
God for
did.
that. So a minister. Thank God for that one as well. I am also a youth counselor.
Hmm.
So I thank God for all my platforms that He allowed me to be on. You know, the storm that He took me through, it was worth it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing that, Juanita. So we want to really dive into this thing. We want to talk about the battlefield of the mind. I know I actually written a book. It's called The Spiritual Battle, and a specific chapter that has in there talks about the attack on the mind, the battle of the mind. But when you talk about, we kind of tie this into your book, right? Detoxing the thoughts, where the war begins, and we know that the war begins in the mind. And we're going to talk about the real front line that no one sees, because a lot of people don't understand. Listen, y'all, this is not the stage. It's not the boardroom. It's not even the kitchen table where we counsel and carry others.
That's
No,
right.
the real battle often starts behind our smile, deep in our minds. Juanita, your story kind of it speaks directly to that hidden war zone. Like
That's right.
you've written about mental clutter, the relentless noise, those silent attacks that come when we're tired, when we're stressed, and when we're trying to obey God, right?
That's
And
right.
we know, especially as women of faith, as leaders and nurturers, that the enemy doesn't always attack the outside first.
That's right. That's right.
He hits the mind first.
Right.
Because if he can plant a lie there, he can pull us out of alignment, out of assignment, and out of peace. So let's go there, Juanita. You talked about mental clutter in your writing.
That's right. That's right.
You even described it as emotional buildup, a spiritual static, and psychological noise that blocks what God is trying to say.
That's
But
right. That's right.
I want to bring that down to ground level. How did it
Oh,
show up for you, especially during your hardest battles? Like, what did it look like when you were in the middle of the storm, when you were juggling ministry, motherhood, business, calling, and then you were still trying to be faithful at the same time? Like, that's a
right.
job. People don't understand that when
In
you,
itself,
that's a job.
I swear for living God. But I want to take it back just for a minute because it started with my first book, Removing the Clutter. I
Mhm.
want to make sure I start where it all began because if I don't start where it began, then you'll be thinking that I'm just jumping in. But no, actually, trauma, warfare, all of those things start when you young. Let me make sure I say that it don't start when you get older. It actually starts when you young, and that is the unresolved issues that you take to your adulthood.
Mm.
I want to make sure I say that it's the unsolved issues that you take to your adulthood if you don't seek help for when you are younger. And only thing you doing is back, you basically just packing stuff on top of stuff. You packing it up, you packing it up. You ain't releasing nothing, you ain't dealing with nothing. Only thing that you are doing is just packing up what hurt you, what didn't sit well with you, whether it was child abuse, molestation, whether it was that it was that you was dealing with during the time that you was dealing with. If you don't if you don't get help for it, it's gonna go to adulthood. It's gonna go when you become a mother, when you become an employee, when you become um whatever you become as you grow. All of those things gonna constantly keep growing with you. The trouble gonna keep growing and keep growing and keep growing because you ain't dealing with it. You just packing on top of it.
Mm.
So I'm gonna say when I became a wife, I had unhealed issues from childhood trauma. So that means that I was bleeding on somebody else, and but
Mm.
I'm taking not only their trauma, I'm taking on my own. Not only I'm taking on my trauma. Let me say that first because it starts with you, and then you take on people trauma, and when you take on that, it becomes a warfare within itself,
Mm.
and that warfare is not that you having a warfare with people. You actually in a spiritual battle in your own inside of you. And
Mm.
it starts in your mind. It starts with you. It don't start with the people first. It actually start with you. And when I had my first child, that was situation, that was trauma, and I didn't never deal with the issue. But what I did, I added some more stuff on top of it,
Mm.
and I put it in the bag, and that's what I like to do. Those warfares that we say, well, I ain't finna deal with that. Put it in the back so that become a unresolved issue. It
Mm.
become a issue. And then you take that and then you start to add it to stuff. Now you overload with being a mother, being a wife, being an employee, being a friend, whatever it is that you're doing, being whoever you are that you are called to be, and you're trying to accumulate all of those things at the same time, but then you're not dealing and you're not handling anything. So the warfare is constantly there. And Sometimes you might not from your tooth. Let me make sure I say that. You may not know your from your tooth because I say this because I
Can you speak up a little bit? I can barely hear you. Your audio is kind of like. I just want to make
okay,
sure that your
oh,
listeners can hear what you're saying.
okay. So fell in love with the movie called Inside Out. It's a cartoon.
Hmm.
It's a cartoon. And that cartoon is actually for little kids. But I recommend any adult to watch it because it shows how anxiety, that warfare really starts. It starts with anxiety and
Mm.
everything. Sort of, you got a conscience over here telling you this. You got a conscience over here. You got feelings over here. You got a warfare over there, warfare, and everything just cloud up, and it have you mentally drained. It have you want to, it have you want to fight, go off on people that did nothing wrong. It has you in a place that you just want to scream at somebody, and it will cause you to do some things that you're not happy with. I can tell you about several warfare that I have been in where I actually act on my warfare and not on how I truly felt.
Right.
So warfare is very much so real. It's very, very, very much so real. It's unresolved issues on top of issues. And sometimes we still deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
They keep coming back. They show back up. They show back up. It's just like Satan when he throw a dart at you, he'll bring you back to a familiar spot,
Mm.
and you go into a warfare zone. You go into a warfare because you never dealt with that issue. You just put it in the back, and then when it popped up, you in another warfare. Whether
Oh.
it's relationship, you know, a relationship shall not be a warfare because you're dealing with adults. You're dealing with friendships. You're dealing with all kind of things.
Mm.
And those warfare it shows up, but now you got to take a pause in yourself and say, let me take this deep breath. Let me take this deep breath. Let me take this deep breath, and let me see how I can maneuver around these situations. So it comes for one step at a time,
Right.
one situation, one problem at a time. Because a lot of times that we're trying to solve problems all together. I think this for me tonight. I really think this for me. Are you my to that?
Yeah.
But that warfare is start everywhere. That warfare start everywhere. It
And you
don't
know,
just start.
I kind of want to interject in that. I want to thank you for sharing that because a lot of times, even when we're battling with warfare, and a lot of people they don't understand that warfare has different levels to it. And just listening at what you were saying as far as with being a wife, being a mother, being in ministry, you're taking on these different roles. And more importantly, a lot of times when you have mental clutter, it tries to pull you away from your purpose. And Juanita, that's so real because I think so many people don't even realize they're in a mental war.
That's right.
Like they think it's just stress, or they say, "Oh, I'm just tired," but deep down they're fighting thoughts that say you're not doing enough, you're behind, you're following at what God called you to do. That's warfare too, but
That's
it's wrapped up in everyday language.
that's
So
right. That's
I want to ask you, Juanita, when you were in that space, like when the enemy was loudest in your thoughts, what did you do to fight back? Like, did you shut down? Did you isolate? Or did you have moments when you had to preach to yourself and speak God's truth even when your emotions didn't agree?
let me tell you, that is a good question. The first thing that I used to do, I would go and shut down. I would shut down and wouldn't talk to my family in weeks, not just days, in weeks. I would shut down because it used to be so to the point where I was so exhausted, I was so drained it, and while I was so exhausted and drained it, I was taking my problems, I was punishing people. for my problems, and they didn't even know what was going on with me. But I was in that mental place where I just had to go lay down because I was going into a bed of depression,
Mm.
and I just lay down, and then um I thank God for being in tune with God because that's when God is the loudest. When you shut down going into a stage and he God will literally tell you, okay, this is not what I'm for. This is not what I intend for you to go through, but I gave you this battle so because I knew that you would be able to handle it. So what you can't handle, you put back in my hand. And when I got to the place where I was saying, Lord. And and these are my conversations with God. Even now, I be like, okay, God, this right here a little too heavy for me.
Hmm.
This burden can't bear this alone. I know you called me to do it, but I'm gonna be in. But I know that every battle is not my battle. So
Right.
God help me separate these battles. Help me separate. Help me understand the things that I can't change. Help me understand the things that I can and cannot do. You
Right.
know, um, so even when I'm in that mental status and I'm taking on someone else's problem and trying to be sane for myself, I say, well, right now, hold on. Give me a few minutes. Let me call you back. Let me talk to you. Now I got to work on me. Now I
Right.
got to get because when people are talking to you, they're not looking at your mental status. They're not looking at that you are crumbled with stuff. Only thing that they're looking at is what you can do for them.
Mm.
That's when you to get in a place where you're saying, you know what, I will call you back because
Mm.
now you get some space back for yourself. Now
Right.
you got to remove some things so that you can go get a rather get grab your bag so that you can grab yourself so that you can get back in the time zone in real time and real realities, because people gonna pull you left and right, and even yourself gonna pull you left and right because you feel like you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to be in this place, you got to be there right there. I got to answer this phone. I got to talk to this person. I got to mop this floor. I got to wash these dishes. I got some stuff you just got to just leave it alone. Just let it be. Just let it be in a standstill until your mental status is clear enough for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna take care of A, then I'm gonna do B, then
Right. Right.
I'm gonna do D. And it's a step to everything that you do, but take care of one thing at a time.
Right.
You got to take care of one thing at a time. I came to the point of realization, even with my phone, put that phone on silent so that you can focus directly on what you're focusing on now.
Right.
Warzone is real, and
Hmm.
all the other stuff, it piles up on top of it, and it piles, and it piles up, and nothing being complete. So
Mm-mm.
I have to get myself back to the place where I'm taking care of B, C, D, one step at a time.
Ooh, that's and you know what, Juanita, that's the part that people don't see, right? Um,
Yeah,
because they see you leading, they see you serving, they see the books, they see the business, they see the ministry, but they don't see the nights where you're crying on your pillow.
oh,
They don't see the morning warfare that starts before your feet even hit the floor. Because you just said something so powerful. And to be honest, it's not even about having all the answers. It's about refusing to let your thoughts lead you into a lie.
that's right, that's
I
right.
love and you know what? When you said, I can remember, we talked about, because we talk outside of this, but just how healing your mind isn't like a one-time event. Like it's a daily discipline. So I got another question for you.
Okay.
What role did spiritual warfare play in your mental and emotional healing process? Like, and the reason I'm asking this because you've seen this firsthand.
Yeah,
That's what's going on in the spirit. It can kind of weigh heavy on our minds, right? So,
right.
was there a moment when you realized, this just isn't emotional. This is spiritual.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Let me tell you. You know, a lot of times when things are cramping up on you and you looking at it as if you looking at it as you got to you this going on, that going on, and stuff like that. And you got to say, God, you know, okay, hold on for a minute, because this is not normal. This is not normal. Why is situation happen after situations? Why is this happen after this and that happen after that? Let me tell you, I'm gonna use this one because it's a reason, a situation. I'm gonna use this three-car accident. Three-car accident. When my Camry, when I was in a car accident in my Camry, I was like, oh, it was a regular accident. You know, accidents do happen. We say that accident do happen.
Hmm.
Okay, now when you looking at it, now my son had an accident.
Mm.
It's like, wait a minute now, my son done had an accident. Okay, now you know, because the first accident didn't get my attention. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Because we portray it as a regular accident when it
Mm.
first happened. So let me make sure I say that. When it first happened, we portray it as a regular accident because accident do. Okay, then the second accident happened, and it was my son was in an accident, and somebody, you know, literally could have lost their life,
Right.
but you know, being injured. And I'm like, okay, you know, now that don't kind of seem normal, but you know, accidents, you know, do happen. So I said it again. The third accident happened in my white car again after I got stopped after a couple of weeks after I got it out of the shop.
Wow.
And this actually told me for a minute now. But I didn't get to it. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know if I want to call Jesus or scream and yell. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went to a place of just shutting down and decided that I wasn't even going to answer this problem. Then I was on my way coming from Georgia in my new car. It was something black laying in the road, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you know there's no daybreak.
Right.
And out of that was in front of me, when did this black thing fell in the road? Because I actually seen people still driving, but how did damage my car?
Mm.
Well, people actually in front of me driving through the same lane that I was driving on. I
Mm.
didn't see nobody car, didn't see nothing come off, didn't see nobody swerve. And I said, okay, God, it's something right about this. And you know, I lift this into God. And I'm like, about this.
Hmm.
Not that then turned around after Montgomery on the 21st, heading to a conference. Then I ended up driving, and the man begged for me to come over because I had my signal light to go what's that road? East Chase.
Hmm.
East Chase. When the man flashed the light for me to come over, I came over, and the same that left me over turned around and hit me from the back.
Mm.
And then he took somebody, and I just sat back and said, "Okay, God, now I'm gonna say, God, this is not normal. This is not real."
Mm.
Because for the last 3 months, from September all the way to now, no August, from August until November, I'm going through a battle and not understanding the battle, but I knew it was something wasn't normal about this battle. And all I had to do was just start talking to God. And I know that He was saying, "Hey, daughter, I'm trying to get your attention. Um, Don't just get up in the morning time. Just start praying. Because when I wake you up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it's not just for you to get up to go to the bathroom. It's for you to have that time with me because I'm trying to show you something. I'm
Mm.
trying to teach you something. I'm trying to open your spiritual eyes so that you can see what's going on in you.
Ooh.
So when you're going through battles and stuff, those battles and battles and battles is not just a normal battle. It's
Mm-mm.
a spiritual warfare battle that you are about to go through, that you are going through, or that you fit to face.
Mm-hmm.
And they battle after battles. But the one thing that I always tell God, you chose me for this. You chose me for this battle. Though they say me, Lord, I'm still gonna trust you in this. I'm not gonna trust you, God. I'm not you. I'm not gonna be like Job's wife and say curse you and die. I'm not gonna do that. God, you chose me for this battle, and because you chose me for this battle, I'm gonna do this battle. But while I'm going through the battle, God, you give me the strength, you give me the wisdom, you give me the power, you give me the understanding, you give me the knowledge, you give me things to go through the battle with you.
Absolutely. Listen, blood, sweat, and tears. You got to go through it.
You
That's
know it, but
everybody got different warfare stories. Yeah,
you got to invite God into the fight with you. You got to invite God in the battle with you because the battle you have you to carry. So when you're going through a battle, already open the door. Already have your door open. Say, okay, God, I invite you in.
that's
Oh,
right.
God, look, trusting you in this battle. God, don't leave me by myself. God, even if you leave me by myself, you order my footsteps. You lead me and you guide me in the direction that I need to go. Even when it's a detour, I need you to detour me back to the right track because there is a distraction that's gonna go, that you're gonna be in that battle and somebody gonna tell you this, or there's gonna be something gonna hit you over there. There's gonna be something, but you know that you got to keep going forward. But even in that detour, you know, hey God, look, let me tell you something. You the GPS of my the GPS of my and in order for me to get on the right track, you got to direct me.
Come
You
on.
got to direct me. And if you direct me, then I know what I'm gonna do. But I ain't gonna stop.
That's right.
I'm gonna keep going the mark of Jesus. I'm gonna keep going even when I feel no strength. And sometimes we ain't gonna have no strength.
Mm,
Sometimes we sometimes that we want to just lay down and just say, you know what, God, I just want to die, but don't let those words come out your mouth.
yeah.
Do not let those words come out your mouth because I'm telling you, He built you army strong. God built you army strong, but you got to find that within yourself. You got to fight with your mind. You got to fight with your mind. People like fighting with their hands. That used to be something that I used to do, fight with my hands. But I started to fight with that mind. Say, okay, you know what, God, I ain't finna let them take control. No, you know
Come
what?
on.
You take control. You know, in your life and the things that are happening around you, there is a for you being a purpose for somebody else. And
Mm.
that's
Oh,
that
Lord.
saving. He do have pockets. And because he has them pockets, guess what? He gonna yank they spring. I don't care if it's your job, I don't care if it's your children, I don't care if it's your husband, I don't
Mm-mm-mm.
care if it's the brother, my cousin, I don't care who it is.
He's gonna pull
Satan
them
gonna
strings.
you see,
He's gonna be a puppet.
as long as you being used by you just
That's it. And I want you to talk a little louder because you got. I want this is a good conversation. I know the connection. Y'all look. I know the connection might be a little but listen, she's speaking some real stuff. Because let me say this too. When you said that, let me say this. Because I just battled a 8 season or eight. I'm about to get ready to do a class. I'm teaching spiritual warfare 101 coming. Look, I'm teaching the class about spiritual warfare because a lot of people don't understand what warfare. I just came out of an 8 month season of warfare, and
that's
and
right.
and and it's gonna be told. everything. Look, I gotta wait at the appointed time. But let me say this: God will not allow you when He puts you into the battle. He's gonna equip you. That's just like if you go to the military,
That's right.
you gotta be trained to
That's
kill,
right. That's right.
right?
That's right. You
That
got to
means
be trying.
it takes extensive training. You got to get up early in the morning when they tell you to get up to train. Because guess what? If you're not trained for war, you're going to easily get killed.
You're going to easily get
Same
killed.
way on the battlefield for God. Because guess
That's
what? The enemy, we find a real enemy out here. And like you said, the enemy got, excuse me, he uses people, your family, your friends, your siblings. He used everybody and he pulling them by a string. They just allowing the enemy to pull them like that and they acting like puppets. But let me say this. Even when you're in the battle, God will equip you for the battle. He will strengthen you for the battle. He won't leave you in the battle because you got to say me plus God versus whoever want to lose. And you got to allow God to strengthen you in that battle because when you said invite God into the battle, that's what you got to do. Because like Yolanda Adams said, she said, the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's.
it's the Lord. So, I'm going to
So,
tell you this right.
mhm,
I really want you to hear this right here. A lot of times we out there fighting. God said, "Why are you?" He said, "Cast all your cares upon me."
yeah, what he
You
said.
are you out there fighting and you still losing because you ain't casting your cares on Him. You casting your cares upon the battle, and you got to learn to turn loose the battle.
Hmm.
He said, "Stay up at night." He said, "It's a why I'm up at day." He said, "I'm fighting the battle for you." He said, "Remember when I came to myself, I was in the battle for you."
Mm. He was already
He
ahead of you in the battle.
said, "Battle for you." He said, "Remember when they whipped me." He said, "Remember me." He said, "I was in the battle for you." He said, "Remember when they stabbed me in my side, I was in the battle for you." He said, "When they lied to me, I was in the battle for you." He said, "Remember," he said, "when they died me, I was for you." I was in the battle for you. He said, "I did those things, paid those debts for you." He said, "I did those things so that you wouldn't have to go through it. And even if you go through it," he said, "See, y'all
Man,
about to make me ain't
oh,
trying to preach, but I'm telling you, when God said cast His care, what? Let me go to this one right here.
I was gonna ask you something, not to interject, but I was gonna this what leads me to the next question. I believe you finna get into it, but I want to make sure that your audio is right when you speaking, because I want the listeners to hear what you got to say because this is so powerful and they need to hear it because I want you to walk us through a moment when your thoughts were your greatest enemy and how you fought back because when so many people, I think a lot of listeners, they need to hear this, especially the woman or man, I'm going to say man too, who feels like that they're drowning in their own head right now. Like,
Let me tell you.
I want you to take us into that moment when the enemy was the loudest in your mind. Maybe when the voice of fear, failure, or shame tried to shut you down. How you fall back? Not in theory right now, but practically, what did you do?
When my sons was going through some stuff, because I'm gonna tell you, that's when your thoughts and your and the enemy be real loud in your head for real. Because now he's going to play with the people that you love. You see what I'm saying? He's going to play with the people that you love. When my children was going through some situations and some things, and my child was being attacked and beat up and stuff, and I'm still trying to be strong for God. Me, this is mama. I'm saying, you know what, baby, cast all your cares up on God. And when you got people coming at your child and stuff like that, and now I'm about to get my pistol because now I'm no longer spiritual. I'm finna be flesh.
Oh.
Let me be honest. I was finna come up out of the stage of being spiritual, and I was working my people, and I'm like, ain't nobody finna mess with my child. Ain't nobody finna keep my child. My child done been through this situation. My child did a day in jail because he was falsely accused. They scandalized his name and they did that. And I'm seeing that my child is staying away. And I almost lost my faith in God because I'm saying, God, my child to go through this, I've been through there. And that's when he stepped in and said, I've been through it for you.
Ooh, that cut you to the core, didn't it?
And it cut me so deep. You see what I'm saying? Because he had to remind me that he did not do a thing.
Right.
And even though that my child didn't do anything, it was hurting just so bad just to see my child was suffering, just to see that my child was going through some stuff that I can put him in the bosom and rock him to sleep and say, you're going to be okay, son. I can look at him all day and say, baby, you're going to be okay. Don't go into shame. Don't go into hiding. Still, so so even when my child was about to commit suicide, even when my child going to leave this earth, let me tell you,
Ooh,
baby, it was a lot. It was a lot. Then I can even go through a time when I was married to my husband and my husband was stepping out in the street with me, and I wasn't even going nowhere looking for the trouble, but the trouble was coming to my door.
mm,
And when people started coming to your disrespect, they can't get back.
that's right.
That's enough respect that can't nobody give back.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
God had to really deal with me. He really had to deal with me. But he gave me the upper hand in there. But it took me a minute to get there because you to do some things. I ended up being my husband back because I didn't go after the woman. I- When he came home, so I'm telling you,
That's
in
that's
the
that's powerful. Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
That's
that
powerful. And you know
that
what?
to do.
Um, some people think deliverance only happens at the altar, but you teach that it's also daily discipline, right? Um, and I'm gonna say this: when you said, man, oh my goodness, man, this thing's so powerful. Look, because we gonna that truth right there sets people free. So if anybody on here listening and you're battling in your mind, I need you to know right now that you're not weak, you're at war. Okay?
You
And
you
war doesn't mean you're losing, it means you're fighting for something that matters. Mental clutter is not your identity. Anxiety is not your portion. Confusion is not your future. God has already equipped you to overcome. And like Juanita just reminded us, the fight starts with what we allow to stay in our thoughts. So I
that's
want you
right.
guys to take inventory. Y'all speak that word and detox your mind like your peace depends on it because it does. Now
That's
listen, we're
right.
gonna transition. We're gonna transition this thing, Juanita,
Oh,
because the enemy doesn't always show up with chaos and crisis, right?
that's right.
Sometimes he shows up in patterns,
That's right.
subtle, repetitive, familiar. And
That's
by the
right.
time we realize what's happening, we're stuck in a cycle that we never agreed to, right?
That's right.
So I want to shift gears into that next battle zone, how to recognize toxic patterns before they spiral and how to break the cycle before it breaks you. So let's go there, okay? Because let me say this. We all heard that the enemy comes to seek, kill, steal, and destroy. But he don't always kick down the door. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes he slips in through unhealed trauma,
That's right.
through toxic relationships dressed up as support,
That's right.
through the habits we've normalized, through
That's
the
right.
thoughts we repeated so many times they become our belief system. Like sometimes we believe our own. Like, we know the enemy is the father of all lies. We believe our own lies, but By the time we realize what's happening, right? This is when the spiral has already started. So
That's
now we're
right.
trying to climb out of something we didn't even know we agreed to. So,
Right.
Juanita, you've actually helped so many women recognize those patterns before they became bondage. So, I want to talk about how we can spot the enemy's fingerprints early before he sets up shop in our minds, our home, and our lives. So, in your journey, Juanita, in your ministry, in your life, you seen how the enemy doesn't always come with drama, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's just routine. It's a mindset. It's a
That's
decision
right.
that you keep repeating. So when you talk about, I'm just reflecting back on your books, but how do you discern when a pattern, even one that looks productive, if it's actually toxic?
Yes.
Because you know every pattern don't look destructive right away, right? Some of them they dressed up as busyness or they even being needed, right?
That's right.
So
Let me
how do you identify those patterns, Juanita?
let me tell you now. This is actually crazy, but I always tell people, let's go to your root first.
Mm.
Let's go to your root. And there is a certain thing called generational curse. Okay, let me make sure I break that down. There is a certain thing that they call generational curse, and generational curse is a repeated cycle. It's a repeated cycle. Let me show you. If you had a that I say great grand, then you turn around and you get another grandmother that's an alcoholic. Then your mother is an alcoholic. Then you got now it's either you gonna be or your sister or your brother gonna be an alcoholic. That's a repeated cycle. That's a generational curse. Let me make sure I say that. If you dealt with people that love to beat on some, that beat on you or somebody, remember it started somewhere else down the line. It started in the home somewhere.
Get to the root. Mm.
I'm telling you, you got to get to the root of it. Once you get to the root, if you got I'm gonna use this one right here because people don't know how to break those cycles. Let me make sure I say that. Molestation, if those things don't transpire in your generation, back in the older generation, know that it's a repeated cycle. It is a repeated cycle somewhere. I can remember that I dealt with alcoholism in my family. And I was one of the ones that said when I was a little child, and I said, I ain't gonna never. And I stuck to it. I might drink wine, but I am not a drinker. You ain't gonna catch me drinking no every day. You ain't finna catch me drinking no every 15, 20, 30 minutes. I got to have something in my system. No, give me a bottle and we can go. Because those generation things is a repeated cycle. And you got to be willing to look at your generation and see where it comes from. You got to do it. And even if you dating someone, and I want to say this right here, if you dating someone and this person is going through some stuff, it's fine. One that come before destruction. You done seen some things that happen, and it be little things like a little white lie. There's no such thing white lie. Ain't no lies white. A lie is a lie. Let me make sure I tell you. Pay attention to what a person do, not what they say.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that I love you and show no signs of love. I tell people love is a four-letter word with no actions. If you don't show no actions, then you don't love me.
Hmm.
Even people said they love me with they lips, but their heart is far from it. Even Jesus said that.
Mm-hmm.
To
Mm-hmm.
show you bare minimum, and you saying that you with this person, even if it's a friendship. If you have a girlfriend, let me tell you, sisterhood. Let me say that. If you got sisterhood and you in a group and they cater to everybody else need, but here you go cater to everyone. need. But when it comes to you and ain't nobody saying nothing about you, ain't nobody wishing you no happy birthday, ain't nobody asking you what you want to do, ain't nobody asking how you feeling, ain't nobody asking you what you want to eat. If ain't nobody saying you, girl, do you want me to come and pick you up? Girl, I know you're down. Do you need any help? Girl, I know that you're struggling with your children. Do you need to talk to your child for you? Do you want me to come and sit in the vineyard with you? Do you want to go with you? If you can get the say, I'm going to go to the bank with you. If you ain't got the friend, that's a matter. And if you keep on accepting that in your life, let me tell you something. It's a
Some got to break, right?
got to break. The break to
Mm.
learn to stop people out, because let me tell you something. When that pattern begin to hurt you, some got to break. I live by a motto say, I'll let you ride my leg until you break it. But when I put it back together, you can't get back.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm telling you. I'm gonna
Mm.
tell you, even if your husband, if you got a husband, boyfriend, if your boyfriend stay out one night and he say he got drunk and say that John, and then John have no recollection of it, and you know that him and John is close friend, and know that John is his friend. Let me tell you something. That's a power. And the only thing he want to know is, can I get away with it the first time? And if they get
Mhm.
away the first time, they're gonna try it again the second time because every woman is different and every man is different.
Exactly.
So they got to try somewhere. Even if you get ignored phone calls, even if you get ignored texts and they wait 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, you or text you and stuff like that. Those generations are curses. Those things that they used to doing. You see what I'm saying? They are used to doing it. And because they are used to doing one thing they doing is just carrying it on. And then they carrying it on to the next person. And they carry it on to the next person until somebody puts some on. And I mean, 'cause I'm the one that I would put some hands on, some praying hands on, some hands, whatever hands that at that time. But at the end of the day, people take your kindness for your weakness.
They do.
Let me And that's on the serious note. People take your kindness for your weakness. And you got people that actually would sit down and try to use you. They would take your shirt off. They would take the seam out the sleeves. They would take the button off the shirt. They would take the collar off. Then they would start working on your pants until they started taking everything from you till you strip down naked. And you
Mm.
have absolutely nothing else to give. And they still be trying to take that because you are to do it. But when you see a person is a taker, understand that if they're not giving anything, they hold no value in your because they came to take something. And
Mhm.
you put in your life that come to drop something off or to pick something up.
Ooh.
But you got to be the one that alerts to it. You got to be the one that alerts. You got to be the one to pay attention. Remember, in your story, you are the main character in your story, and you determine in your life and what you don't want in your life. You are the main character. The people is just tools. And they
Uh,
come to do things that they supposed to do. I use my character to equip me to be strong.
mhm.
My
And you know
character
what?
help.
That's a positive way to look at it because um a lot of people overlook red flags and imperfections. Like we're really not talking about drama or dysfunction only, right? Because like even sometimes, a lot of people they don't know how to tell the difference between a season of stretching and a cycle of spiritual sabotage, right? So sometimes, red flags is you can't rest or you're pouring, like you said, you're pouring into others, but feeling more resentful than renewed. Because sometimes, we think it's just life being hard, but it's really a warning signal from the Holy Spirit saying something is out of alignment. Me and one of my other good sisters, we talked about that. We did a talk about alignment. Because I love how you teach people not just to push through, but you also let people know how to pay attention, right?
Yes,
Because patterns become prisons if we don't confront them. Like
that's right.
Juanita, you work with so many people, like in ministry, business, community service, right?
That's
Um,
right.
How do you lovingly challenge someone when you recognize that they're stuck in a pattern that's rooted in fear and not truth? Because fear often wears a mask. Okay.
That's right.
It can sound like wisdom, protection, or even caution, but it keeps us small, right? How do
Mhm.
you lovingly challenge someone when you hear their mindset is based on lies and not the word?
Oh my God, let me tell you, this is really good because I have been dealing with, I deal with a lot of people, in communities, because I'm an insurance person or whatever or role that I'm playing at the given times that I'm doing it.
Mm,
I deal with people on the level of I watch them and I listen to them talk. And when they start making everybody else the problem, that is a routine
mm,
because now they are not taking accountabilities for the role that they play in certain situations in their life. Now,
mm,
I'm not going to say that this person is accountable for everything, but in somewhere in those relationships, in those, I don't care if it's a work relationship, I don't care if it's just a passing through relationship, whatever relationship it is, because there's a lot of shifts. But with all those shifts, you got to pay attention to if a person constantly keep running back and forth in and out of your life. They keep running back and forth in and out of your life.
mhm.
And when they coming in your life, sometimes you got to say, what you want? Because let me tell you something. I've been watching you for a minute. And I see that you being double minded. And y'all know the Bible says a double minded man is unstable in all their ways.
Unstable. Unstable.
When you see that a person is being unstable over here, and then they bring it over here. They being unstable there, and then they bringing it over here. That means that it's a routine thing. They don't know who they are. They trying to pick up somebody else's. They feeding off of your spirit. They feeding off of your energy. They need some of your energy. They need some energy to become one, but they still all over the place. They need something to feed on because they don't have their identity.
We just talked about that though, right? The other day we talked about that. Outside of the platform. Yeah, we
Yeah,
we kind of talked about that.
yeah. When people don't have their own identity, they all over the place. And you have to watch and see who comes in your life and understand that don't try to keep these people in your life. Let me make sure I say that. Don't try to keep these people in your life. Always leave the door open. Because when a person in your life, they don't always come to stay. They do
Mm-mm.
not come like I said before. They came to pick something up or either drop something off.
Mm. That's
But
good.
you choose what you want to put in your basket.
Mm,
You choose what you want to deposit into your account.
mm,
Choose what you want to deposit in your spirit. You choose it because some people just they don't know what to do with themselves unless they got somebody holding them up,
mm.
and they don't know how to take accountabilities for their action. They don't know how to take accountabilities for their self. They don't know how to come into their own identity. So, like I said, I have multiple jobs and I see it every day. And when you see it, sometimes you just don't say nothing. Sometimes it's meant for you to be quiet but be watched.
Mm, mm,
That's the number one, is to
mm.
be quiet and be watched for. Because let me tell you, it's just like line, the Daniels in the line, then you don't know when them lines gonna strike.
Right.
Unless when God send you in there, you already know the line ain't gonna let you do nothing but get comfortable.
Absolutely.
But if unstable is the ones that the lion's gonna tap up. I'm telling you. So
Mm,
you have to watch the unstability that people bring into your life. If they're not stable in your life, you already know that they're not stable in their own life. Because they didn't just come over here in your life and became unstable. They was already unstable. It's just like being wool in sheep clothing. You own you own.
yes, yes, yes. So I want to say this because we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. This has been a great, great, great interview. I'm glad that we got a chance to come back on and get this done again, because everything that we talked about today, y'all, was mental warfare, emotional healing, breaking toxic cycles. She even talked about, walking through the fire in some sort, and even reclaiming your peace. It's all poured into your writing, right?
That's
So
right.
I want to say this, y'all. This woman, and this to the listeners, this woman doesn't just speak from theory. She speaks from testimony, and she writes from battle. Like, her books aren't just stories, they are strategies, they are blueprints for freedom, and they were born out of real and lived deliverance. So I want to talk about your work as an author and how writing became part of your assignment in the kingdom. Um, was there a moment God said, put this on paper? Was it healing for you, or was it a battle you had to write your way through? I know you got removing the clutter, and then you got detoxing your thoughts, because both of them kind of coincide together.
Yes. Okay, so this is how it came about. I was dealing with so many things. I don't know if y'all know, but sometimes when you're dealing with like body aches and headaches and stuff like that, that's a spiritual thing. That's not it's not a normal sickness. I want to make sure I say that it's not a normal sickness. You become overwhelmed and all of those things that's going on, but that means that you still carrying stuff that you should not be carrying. And when I first wrote the book Detoxing Your Thoughts, I was sitting on my bed and I was sitting in the closet. I was sitting looking at my closet because I was looking for some clothes to put on.
Mhm.
And I literally heard the Spirit of God said, that closet out. So I cleaned the closet out. And when I went there, I just started picking stuff up. And I was like, I don't wear this, I don't wear this, I don't wear this, I don't wear that. And I was just throwing stuff in the floor. And then that's when I heard the God said clearly, He said, this is how I want you to live your life. And then I started turning around looking like, because I knew wasn't nobody in my house but me. And He said, I said, huh? And He said, I want you to live your life. Remove the things that holds no value in your life.
Mm.
People. Remove those people that hold no value in your life. Let me explain that to you. If you always got to reach out to people and call people and stuff, and they know that y'all supposed to be friends, sister, whatever y'all have to be brothers, whoever. Um, if they don't value in your life, and if you look over your life and see that nothing changed with that person, then you pluck that person out and let them go in. Okay, it's just like your clothes. If you got clothes in your closet that you ain't wore ever since 1962, whatever that you bought, and if you want to get
62.
down, baby, give it to somebody else because you ain't gonna do nothing. The only thing
Right.
that is doing is just accumulating dust, or either it's what it is it's turning to rag, and your shoes starting to be encrusted where you can't even do nothing with them because they start because you got too many, you can't wear 'em. Okay, now places. If you places. And those places hold no value. You ain't enjoying yourself. Every time you get there, your spirit dropping, all that kind of stuff. Stop going to those places. God calling you out of those places. He's calling you
Mhm.
out of that place. It ain't no sense keep going back to places that you have outgrown. Now it's time to elevate. It's time to do something else. It's time to remove your put yourself on another platform now because now you got something else that you got to do.
Mhm.
Things things, Lord have mercy. We our cars and stuff. We'll go buy 50 million cars and stuff just to have in the yard and can't drive over and we got them just for a show. I don't care if you got to go get the finest channel. I don't care what it is that you got in your house and stuff. Those things that hold you no value, you ain't looked at the thing since you bought it and stuff. And then I don't care if it's wedding gift, I don't care if it's birthday gift, I don't care what it is. If you ain't gonna do that, give it to somebody else that's gonna use it. Because there are people out there that need those things that you have and you ain't doing nothing with it. You just holding on to it. Get rid of it. I'm gonna tell you something. It holds
Mhm.
no value in your life. Let me tell you, that's how I want you to live your life. If things don't hold no value in your life, ain't no sense of holding on to it. Now, once you release those things, once you release those sickness, once you release those diseases, once you those things that in your head that's holding you down, those toxic things that's in your body that don't hold no value to your life. Cleanse yourself. Do a spiritual cleanse. Get that stuff out of you. Let me tell you. That's why God said remove the cloth because that's all. is. It's clutter. It's clutter. It's the stuff that clutter down inside of you that you don't need anymore. You ain't doing nothing with it. So now it's time to grow. Now you got to do that spiritual cleanse so that you can invite some clean stuff in, some stuff that you want to do, some things, some people that you want in your life, some places that you want to go. See what I'm saying? Um, all of those things. Now you got to detox your thoughts from it. You see what I'm saying? It ain't no sense going back in the back, picking up all the stuff that you have that you ain't doing nothing. Ain't no sense of picking it up because if you pick it up, think that you accumulate more dust. You accumulate more dirt. Only thing that you're doing is just detoxing from change the way you think about these things. Change the way you think about it. Don't keep on holding on to it or saying this person did me wrong. Yeah, this person did you wrong, but guess what? They didn't kill you. So guess what? Now it's time for you to move forward. Now it's time for you to go ahead on. That's what I mean about detoxing your about what the people done did to you because they did what they supposed to did when they was in your life. Remember, you the main character.
Mm-hmm.
They just character, but you the
Mm.
main character. You the one that the story is about. Your life is who
Oh,
the story is about. So now you got to detox yourself away from those ways of thinking, those old friends, those old things, those places. Now you got to detox from it. Now you got to now you got you trying to get somewhere. Ain't no sense of keep looking back. But the story of Lot's wife. Lot's wife looked back and she turned to a pillow of salt. A lot of
sure
people
did.
want to think that it was the homosexual thing because that's what the Bible, was talking about. But it was a lot of things that took place in the story that ain't nobody talked about. It's a lot of places. She was looking back because that's the only thing that she knew.
Mm.
And a lot of people like that now. They go back because guess what? That's all you know. And then you scared to go forward because you was in a familiar place. You was in a familiar place that you knew all that in the end. That's just like I call it. All would sit there and get drunk because that's a familiar place. But when they see increase, when they see that they can become better, and if they don't change their mindset, they look back. How I know I dealt with it in my family. I dealt So that's all my book is about. That's all my book is saying. Detox yourself away from the old ways of thinking so that you can be the person that God called you to be, the person that you're supposed to be. There's a lot of people
You.
to be something in life and can't be what they want to be because it's
Come on.
one small thing that turned them back around. So it's time to change your mindset. It's time to change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes,
My grandbaby just walked in. I don't know if y'all seen it, but listen, Juanita, look, I want to thank you so much for being real, raw, and anointed, honey. You actually poured out a lot today, and I know lies. People that were listening probably they can most definitely relate to what you were saying from removing the
yes,
clutter, detoxing your thoughts, and I know a lot of lives will be changed from this because let me say this, y'all, if this episode spoke to your spirit, I want you guys to sit with that because I know there are gonna be some people who gonna read your books. Y'all and listen, y'all make sure y'all go support Juanita or her books, Removing the Clutter and Detoxing Your Thoughts. Because this is how it will also coincide and let you know how you can be able to win in your mind because these books are just not a book. These are deliverance in print. Some
yes,
people
yes.
write to teach, others write to bleed and heal. And the good thing about this is, I'm gonna tell y'all this. If this episode blessed you, I don't want y'all to keep it to yourself. Share it with your sister or your brother who's been battling silently. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and follow Kingdom Warfare with Lucretia podcast because that's the name of it now. Y'all make sure y'all follow that episode because December 18th is going to be a powerful, powerful. It's not just going to be an ordinary episode. It's going to be a powerful testimony that's going to shake the nation. It's going to bring some people back. It's going to allow some people to see some things that they never seen. They're going to allow some people to really sit in the places that they're in right now and look back and say, well, Lord, I did not know that I was dealing with this, but a lot of people don't know how to deal with warfare. So it's very, very, very important that you be careful what you take in this, what you listen to, who you're allowing to pour into you, who you are allowing to have opinions about your situation. Not just that, But you got to be careful because the enemy can slide in this because about what goes in must come out.
That's
And
right. That's
Juanita, listen, for those who want to connect with you, learn more about your books, or work with you in business or ministry, how can they reach you?
okay. Well, my Facebook page is Nita K Knox. You can inbox me on Messenger. I also have a TikTok page. You can go on Nita K, Nita K2 Knox, and Instagram, J Knox 717. Also, if you reach out to me on Messenger, then I can give you my other information. If you want to know, I work at the insurance company in Selma, Alabama. I can give you that number, but you got to reach out to me in order for me to get it. So start with my Messenger.
Okay. All right. So I just want to let y'all know Juanita just didn't give us a testimony. She gave us a roadmap. Okay. She reminded us that healing is possible, clarity is possible, and peace is possible. But you got to fight for it. You got to detox your thoughts. You got to remove the clutter. And you got to declare war on every lie that's trying to take root into your mind. Because maybe you've been battling in silence. Maybe you've been pouring from an empty space. Maybe you've been strong for everybody else while you're quietly drowning yourself. But let this be your line in the sand, y'all. No more spiraling. No more survival mode. No more staying in cycles God has already given you the power to break. You're not crazy. You're not too
That's,
far gone. And guess what? You're not alone. And like Juanita said today, your thoughts don't have to control you.
that's
Your
right.
past doesn't disqualify you, and your pain doesn't cancel your purpose. So, y'all, we're fighting with you, we're praying with you, and we're rising with you. But before we do close out, here are a few ways you can connect, grow, and take care of business with purpose. If you need promotion for your business, okay, Kingdom Warfare with Lucretia podcast. I do have some ad spots available right here. You can email me, Kingdom Warfare with Lucretia at gmail.com. Okay, at gmail.com. And if you need notary service, y'all heard Juanita. She's a notary down there in Selma, Alabama. So you need local notary services down there in Selma. Listen, make sure that y'all reach out to Juanita. But if you in Montgomery and you need a quick notary service in Montgomery, Alabama, listen, reach out to me. All right. So whether this is an inspirational story, if you need publishing or writing, faith-filled content, listen, go ahead and get your book published before 2026. Tell your story, y'all. Listen, y'all got to understand that your story is going to be able to help somebody else. Go ahead and go over to consultgodfirstpublishing.com, or you can email info@consultgodfirstpublishing.com. And listen, let me tell y'all something. If y'all want to wear y'all faith with boldness, right? Y'all see this shirt I made. Now, y'all see the Black Girl Magic. Listen, look, Black Girl Magic. Look, that, that's Lucretia's anointed hands. I'm getting ready to get some new merch for Kingdom Warfare with Lucretia podcast. But Juanita's also a life insurance agent. Look, we got a lot of things in common, Juanita. She's a licensed agent. I'm a licensed agent. Listen, we collaborate. Collaboration over competition. Okay?
And I'll say this. I also have a clothing line. One of my shirts is for one of my TBOC, Taking Back Our Children. One of my t-shirt brands is TBOC, 1 Corinthians 15:33. Even do a corrupt good character. That's one of my clothing brands.
Okay.
Also, I say God didn't tell me to do it. I'm big on God didn't tell me to do it. So let me tell you something. If God didn't tell you to do it, don't do it.
Don't
And
do it.
then we know that says for still willing to learn. Let me
Mm,
tell you, being processed, but we still got to be willing to learn.
that's
We
right.
always learn something. I'm telling you. And then we got a women's at war, women's in purple. So I want to make sure that hey, if y'all interested in any of those brands, hey, contact me. I
Woo,
also
woo.
see that look, J Knox at TBOC.LC. Then I also have uh J Knox J Knox JK76 at gmail.com, J Knox 717 at yahoo.com. Hey, I got plenty of emails. Whatever you need, I'm here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love to see women empower, women in faith just grow, women just on the rise in this season. And it's such a blessing that God is using. He's handpicking and choosing the ones that's gonna do the work. And I'm so glad that He chose me. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I just was obedient to the call. That's the only thing. So, guys, listen. If you enjoyed this is just another episode of Kingdom Warfare with Lucretia podcast. I'm your host. And until next time, listen, guys, stay sharp, stay anchored, and keep your mind armored. Okay? Keep your mind
Mine,
armored.
waste. Mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Got joy in my soul. God is in control.
Yeah.